I'm sorry I did that to us, man. Oh.
No, please.
So check this out, yo. Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. I have been given custody of him. He signed to Usher.
I'm signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So.
Diddy bought his son a Bentley. Maybe, he could buy you one also while you're out.
He got me a Lamborghini.
That's nice.
I haven't gotten it yet, though.
Yeah, I know. When is that coming, that Lamborghini? We talked about this last time.
He had the Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house. And he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
Well, apparently not. Something.
They wouldn't let him. Actually, someone made reference to the fact that Diddy trying to get at Bieber the way he was trying to get at Bieber was looking a little predatory. And then Usher came in and discovered it and managed him and got custody of him and promised to look after him. And then he sent him to the diddler.
So many horrific accusations, though, involving young singers, children.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
It's insane.
He makes R. Kelly look like a decent guy.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
It is crazy. And meanwhile, the guy was like hanging out with Oprah, hanging out with Obama.
Jay-Z,
everybody.
The room felt different that day. Not loud, not chaotic like most podcast recordings, but heavy. Like something unspoken had already taken over before the cameras even started rolling. When Joe Rogan finally sat down, he wasn't smiling, he wasn't joking, he was just still. The kind of stillness that makes you pay attention before a single word is spoken. And what came next wasn't the usual internet talk, wasn't casual celebrity discussion, wasn't entertainment in any normal sense. It felt deeper, sharper, more uncomfortable, because the conversation turned toward Justin Bieber and the old resurfaced clips that the internet never really stopped replaying in the background. The early fame, the pressure, the strange adult world he was pulled into before he had a chance to grow into himself.
Justin Bieber had a post the other day on his Instagram talking about all the drugs that he did when he was younger and how much it fucked him up, and now he's got a relationship with the Lord, and he's got, he's married, and he's trying to be a normal person.
Yeah.
But he's struggling with the fact that he was insanely famous when he was a kid.
What's up, man? You good?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, young brother, everything's good?
Everything's
Selling
great.
out arenas and everything? Starting to act different, huh? You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, you try to get in contact with me, through all my, partners and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But you never really got my number, so.
Right. Okay.
My number?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you my number.
Yeah.
What's going on with you guys? Are you working together?
I'm not. I think that we become friends in a strange way,
It's like Robin Big.
Yeah. It's like exactly.
I'm big and you're Robin.
Yeah. No, to a lot of us, he's like a little brother. You know what I'm saying? He's not afraid to call and ask for advice. He's somebody that, in the industry-wise, the record industry is a strong family, and he's somebody that, we definitely have our arms around, and we want to protect him because he's such genuinely a nice person besides his talent. You know what I'm saying? He's one of the greatest kids that you could ever know.
Justin,
We had seen these videos of Justin Bieber being handed over to him at age 15. Great job. And for his weekend with Diddy camp. We don't know, but it certainly looks like Justin Bieber is still suffering the fallout from whatever happened to him as he was coming up the ranks of the music world. It really doesn't seem worth it. I'd love to hear more from his camp about what's real, because it's clear he's suffering. We just don't know from what. And what mother out there would give her 15-year-old boy over to a grown man who's in the rap industry for a weekend with Diddy camp without other adult supervision?
Moved to New York City. and I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you
New
over
York
to something
City.
called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp.
Yeah,
Flavor
that's what it
Camp.
was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
In the 90s, do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really.
Come on.
But hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle,
right?
And I saw it, and it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
A month ago, I was really struggling mentally and emotionally, and just there was so many things that were adding up, and I wasn't able to enjoy any of the things that I owned.
That stuff's not gonna matter to you.
None of the actual things did anything because I was so hurt and I was so confused and I was so sick and there was all these things, and I was like, I can't, there's like, you just can't, like you said, you can't enjoy the actual physical, tangible, like, things that money offers, right? Like, it really had to come from within. So that's
Joe didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. His tone carried everything. And then, almost like he was forcing the words out carefully, he touched on the name that always changes the energy in the room: Sean Combs, known to most people simply as Diddy. The moment that name came up, the conversation shifted, not into accusation, not into conclusion, but into something far more unsettling: reflection, confusion, and a kind of emotional weight that's hard to describe unless you've seen someone slowly realize something they never wanted to see clearly. Because this wasn't just about headlines. It wasn't just about old clips circulating online. It was about the way the past starts to look different when you view it through an adult understanding of power, influence, and vulnerability. And Joe Rogan, he wasn't laughing anymore. He was thinking. Really thinking. And what nobody expected was how emotional it would get. Because as he spoke, there were moments where his voice slowed down, moments where he paused mid-sentence, like something in his mind had caught up to his words, like he was seeing the situation not as celebrity culture, but as something much more human underneath it, something that didn't sit right, something that never really sat right. To understand why this moment hit so hard, you have to go back. Not to the podcast, not to the headlines, but to the beginning of Justin Bieber's rise. A teenage boy from Canada suddenly thrown into global fame. Not slowly, not gently, but all at once. One viral moment turned into millions of eyes watching him every day. Cameras everywhere, interviews, tours, expectations stacking faster than anyone his age could realistically process. He wasn't just becoming famous, he was becoming a product of fame. And the world loved it. At first.
It's just amazing how many people in the Diddy party list that are supporting Kamala. Too.
Yeah, seriously. It's like insane.
Publicly, openly, all in.
Yes. It's like J-Lo was like his ex-girlfriend. and it's like now deciding she's like warning people against Trump. I'm like, well, wait a second. So how many people did she warn against Diddy?
Right.
Oh, 0. Okay.
Right.
Well, maybe we shouldn't trust her opinion. Like if she's going to be warning people, why did she never warn anyone about Diddy?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The whole thing is so strange to watch play out. It seems like the Diddy thing was like an Epstein-type compromise deal where whether he was doing it himself, conceivably, people want to think that he's attached to some intelligence agency or something like that. I think he's a gangster who made $1 billion and knew how to control people by compromising them. That's what I think. Whether or not he had help, I don't know. Whether or not he shared some of that information with people so they knew they had compromising stuff on people, I don't know. But clearly he was doing it for his own jollies too. There was something sick about it.
Yeah.
The you of then was on a path of self-destruction. Oh, for sure. Yeah, I would have, for sure, 100%. Yeah. It would have been no bueno. It was bad. I don't know if I'd be alive for sure.
The charm, the talent, the early interviews where he still had that softness in his voice, that mix of excitement and nervous disbelief. People called him the future, the next big thing, a global superstar in the making. But what people often forget is what happens behind that kind of rise. The schedules that don't stop, the adults who stop treating you like a child the moment you start making money. The industry machine that keeps moving whether you are exhausted, overwhelmed, or emotionally ready for it or not. And somewhere in all of that, a teenage life gets replaced by a career. Joe touched on that idea slowly, like he didn't want to sound like he was exaggerating, but you could hear it in his tone. He wasn't talking about fame anymore. He was talking about pressure, isolation, responsibility placed on someone who never asked for it. And then came the darker layer of the conversation, the resurfaced moments the internet has picked apart for years. Old footage, old appearances, moments where Justin appeared alongside powerful industry figures, including Diddy, in environments that now make people pause and ask questions they didn't ask back then. At the time, it was framed as networking, mentorship, music industry connections. But years later, the internet replays those same moments differently. And Joe didn't make accusations, he didn't state conclusions, but he did something more powerful. He questioned the feeling behind it, the vibe, the discomfort, the quiet tension people only notice when they look back with new awareness. Because sometimes the truth isn't in what is said, it's in what is felt. And Joe admitted something that made the entire tone of the discussion shift again. He said watching those old clips now doesn't feel entertaining anymore. It feels uneasy, like something was off that nobody wanted to question at the time because it was easier not to. And that's where the conversation started to get heavier. Because when you start looking at a young celebrity surrounded by powerful adults, the narrative changes. What once looked like success starts to look like pressure. What once looked like opportunity starts to look like control. And what once looked like normal industry behavior starts to look questionable. Joe spoke slowly, choosing his words carefully, almost like he was trying not to let emotion take over the logic of the discussion. But the emotion was still there, because at the center of it all is a simple truth that's hard to ignore. A teenager does not fully understand the world of adults, not the manipulation, not the influence, not the power dynamics that exist behind closed doors. And when that teenager is surrounded by people who all benefit from their success, the line between protection and exploitation can become dangerously blurred. Joe didn't say it in dramatic terms. He didn't need to. The weight of it was already there. And then the conversation shifted again toward what happens after fame takes its toll. Because Justin Bieber didn't just stay the same wide-eyed kid forever. The world watched him grow up in real time, watched him struggle, watched him make mistakes, watched him go through phases of rebellion, isolation, and public breakdowns that became internet entertainment instead of warning signs. Joe's tone changed here. It softened, almost like he wasn't talking about a celebrity anymore, but a person. He pointed out something uncomfortable, how quickly the internet turns human struggle into content, how easily pain becomes a meme, how fast people forget that behind the headlines is someone dealing with real emotional weight. And for a moment, there was silence in his delivery, a pause long enough to feel intentional. Because he wasn't just talking about Justin anymore, he was talking about what it means to grow up under a microscope and how damaging it can be when the world stops seeing you as a person and only sees your reactions, your mistakes, your breakdowns. Then came the most emotional part of the conversation. Joe started talking about accountability, not in a legal sense, but in a moral one. He asked the question that lingered in the air long after he said it. Where were the adults? The managers, the handlers, the executives, the people who stood next to him in photos, the people who benefited from his success? Because in every major industry story like this, there are always many people around the star, but very few who step in when things feel off. And that realization carried a heaviness that even Joe struggled to fully articulate. His voice dropped slightly, slower, more thoughtful, almost like he was trying to process the reality of what he was saying as he said it. Because it's one thing to talk about fame in theory, it's another to imagine a teenager standing in the middle of it with no real understanding of how to step away. And the hardest part of all of this isn't even the past. It's how people respond to it later. The jokes, the memes, the ridicule, the way the internet rewrites trauma into entertainment without ever pausing to think about the person behind it. Joe didn't excuse anything. He didn't defend anyone. But he did something rare in celebrity commentary. He slowed down and asked people to reconsider how they look at young fame. Because once you see it differently, you can't really unsee it. And that's where the emotional shift happened. Not in anger, not in accusation, but in awareness. Because whether someone agrees with every interpretation or not, the core idea remains uncomfortable. A child raised inside fame does not experience childhood the same way others do. And that truth sits in a strange place, not fully visible at first, but impossible to ignore once you notice it. By the end of the discussion, Joe's tone wasn't sharp anymore. It wasn't intense. It was reflective, almost heavy. Like someone who had gone through the entire thought process and didn't come out the other side with easy answers, just questions. And maybe that's why the moment resonated so strongly online, because it wasn't about proving anything. It wasn't about concluding anything. It was about the uncomfortable realization that fame has layers most people never think about. And once those layers are seen, they don't disappear. They stay with you. Joe ended on a note that felt less like a statement and more like a warning about perspective itself, about how quickly the world normalizes things it should pause to question, and how often people only understand the weight of a situation when it's already in the past. And as the conversation faded out, what remained wasn't scandal, it wasn't controversy, it was something quieter, a feeling that something in the system of fame has never been as simple as it looks from the outside. And once that thought settles in, it doesn't really leave. And when you really sit back and think about everything that's been said, it doesn't just feel like another celebrity story anymore. It feels heavier than that, because what we're actually talking about isn't just fame, or headlines, or old clips resurfacing on the internet. We're talking about real people, real emotions, and real consequences that don't just disappear when the cameras stop rolling. The truth is, stories like this stay in people's minds for a reason, not because the internet loves drama, but because something about it feels unfinished. Something about it feels uncomfortable in a way that's hard to ignore. And maybe that's the part that hits the hardest. The fact that so many things in the entertainment world get watched, replayed, joked about, and then quietly pushed aside without anyone really stopping to ask how it affected the person living through it. Because behind every viral moment, there's a human being who had to wake up the next day and live with it. Behind every clip the internet turns into entertainment, there's someone who had to sit in silence afterward and deal with emotions the world never sees. And once you understand that, it changes the way you look at everything. You start realizing that fame doesn't just amplify success, it amplifies pressure, it amplifies mistakes, it amplifies pain, and sometimes it puts people in situations where they don't even realize how much they're carrying until much later in life. And maybe that's why this conversation hits so deeply for so many people, because it forces us to look beyond the surface, beyond the headlines, beyond the jokes, and into something more human, something more fragile, something that doesn't always get spoken about out loud. But here's the truth that stays behind long after the discussion ends. Awareness changes everything. The more people start questioning what they see, the harder it becomes for uncomfortable truths to stay hidden in plain sight. The more people start thinking about the human side of fame, the less power silence and ignorance have. And no matter what side of the conversation anyone stands on, one thing is clear. Stories like this make people think. They make people reflect. And sometimes they make people uncomfortable in ways that lead to understanding. Because at the end of the day, it's not about pointing fingers. It's about seeing people as people again. Not as content, not as headlines, not as moments frozen in time for the internet to replay forever. Just human beings, dealing with situations most of the world will never fully understand. And maybe that's where real change starts. Not in noise, not in rumors, but in awareness, in conversation, in paying attention to the things that were once ignored. But before you go, if you've made it this far into the video, take a second to think about what you just heard. Think about how quickly we consume stories online without really processing the weight behind them. And think about how important it is to stay aware, stay thoughtful, and not just accept everything at surface level. If this video made you reflect even a little, don't forget to hit that like button. It helps push these conversations further and lets more people see them. And if you want more deep, emotional, and real stories like this one, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications so you never miss what's next. Because this isn't just about one story, it's about all the stories that haven't been fully told yet, and we'll be right here talking about them.